So at the end of last season, I done a video looking at AC Milan's tactics. The video done really well, and I said to you guys, I was going to try and produce more Serie A content this year. Turns out I'm a bit of a fraud because I literally haven't done a single video on an Italian team this season apart from in the Champions League. So I can only apologise for that. Yeah, that's kind of my bad. However, whilst I may not have done videos on the Serie A, it is the league that I've been following the most this season apart from the Premier League, to try and really educate myself. The Italian football isn't something I've really watched too much in the past. This season I've really been educating myself and really enjoying it. And in particular, I've been enjoying Napoli and Spalletti, the tactics that he's using. That was a car crash of a sentence. The tactics that he has been using with Napoli to get them playing some really good football. They're a joy to watch in the Serie A at the moment. By far the best team. We can see that in the table. 13 points clear of Inter at the time of recording. And at the moment, it looks like they are going to win the Scudetto for the first time since the great Diego Maradona. Which is just wonderful for Napoli. So basically, I want to talk about how they're doing it. Why they're so much better than everyone else in their league. How they're achieving this. And a lot of it comes thanks to a real team spirit in the team. I've got the starting 11 on screen for you guys here. And for those that don't watch too much Serie A, you'll look at that 11 and not too many players really scream out at you at being elite players. If we look at clubs that are at the top of other leagues, you do see better individuals. You do. It might be a bit harsh on this Napoli team, but it is true. There aren't too many superstars in this Napoli team, and perhaps that's why Spalletti deserves credit. Because what he's got is a real team spirit. And he's got a team performing incredibly well. And they're one of the best teams in Europe at the moment. And this is kind of their average 11. We do see changes with Oliveira at left back sometimes. Lozano on the right wing sometimes. And Ndombele can come into the midfield as well. So we do see changes. But this is kind of their average 11 in recent weeks. And they have just been really impressive. And we can't really talk about Napoli and their beautiful brand of possession football without talking about this man, Kim Min-jae at centre-back. Now, he was signed in the summer for what now looks like a bargain fee. This guy is incredibly good at centre-back. And for me, what it is that separates him from most other centre-backs in the league and in Europe is his composure. I've never seen such a cool head on a centre-back. He is so calm and collected in every situation. But on top of that calmness, physically, he is an athlete. He's very strong, he's good in the air, he's quick across the ground, making him an excellent cover defender behind that defence. But he can also be aggressive at times, although not so much. But in general, he's just a really good defender, and he is the starting point for Napoli in terms of how they play. And again, it's his composure not only in his defending, but on the ball, which makes him so good. He is right-footed, but he plays on the left side of defence. However, that isn't an issue for him, because he is just brilliantly technically gifted, and we can see that in his metrics here, with his passes attempted and pass completion and progressive passes all incredibly high. He is absolutely brilliant at getting the ball in this Napoli defence and getting the team moving forward. It might be a pass into Zielinski in between the lines here, it might be to Lobotka, it might be a switch of play. Just genuinely, all round, a really good centre-back. And I hope for his sake, and for the sake of Serie A, and for the sake of Napoli in particular, that he doesn't move on in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But what he does is quality on the ball, and again it's that composure. It just sets the tempo for the rest of the team. It seems to really bring that element of calm to the rest of the team. They feel comfortable when he's on the ball, and then from there, his passing is top quality. At the moment, there probably aren't many better centre-backs in the world in terms of their on-the-ball quality, and again for me it's impressive that a right-foot player is so good on the ball at left centre-back. Normally when a right-foot player plays in this position, it can restrict their passing angle slightly, but he is just so capable with either foot. He is so good on the ball that it doesn't matter. And like I said, he really does get them heading in the right direction with his passing through the lines, his passes to Lobotka. He is kind of that figurehead which gets them started. They wouldn't be where they are without him. And for me, the same can be said for Lobotka as well. Now, Lobotka is a player who was only really broken properly into the first team as a true starter in the past couple of seasons. He was a bit of a rotation player before that. However, for me, he's been absolutely wonderful to watch. He's been one of the best players in Europe this season. Wonderful footballer. And if you look at his FBref report, you're not going to see too much which stands out. And that really sums him up for me. Only his pass completion and his passes attempted are particularly impressive, but his pass completion especially. 99th percentile, completing 93.4% of his passes. Now what you can see is that his progressive passes aren't too high, his dribbles completed aren't too high, his shot creating actions aren't too high, and like I said, that really does sum him up. He is a player who is quite safe on the ball, but that composure to kind of keep things safe is what sets the tempo for the rest of his Napoli team. He's not a player that's going to play the ball over the top. He's not a player that's going to bring players in through the lines. He's not going to carry the ball forward out of a press. But what he does absolutely brilliantly is he constantly checking his shoulder, he's scanning the pitch around him, he's got an excellent little turn on him, and then he just keeps it safe. And he really is a high volume player. He gets a lot of touches and really helps Napoli dictate the play. Everything goes through Lobotka. At the end of the season, he won't get the plaudits because he won't get the goals, the assists, which win them the title ultimately, if that is what happens. But again, he's another player like Kim, which they really couldn't do it without him, because he, again, is that kind of foundation. Him and Kim, their quality on the ball, and Lobotka's ability to keep it safe, just keep the tempo, keep it ticking over, keep recycling the ball from side to side. He really is key and genuinely fundamental to everything that they do, just because of his ability to take a touch on the ball and keep it very simple. It's really, really impressive. With Lobotka kind of holding down that midfield position, it means that the other two midfielders can be a bit more adventurous in Zielinski and Anguissa. Now, again, if we compare this to other top teams in Europe, these aren't necessarily the midfielders that you would expect. If we look at a team like Arsenal, they've got a 10 in that position in Odegaard. You look at Manchester City, they've got Kevin De Bruyne. Manchester United have Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes. Napoli have two, what I would call real number 8s. Lobotka is the 6th, the holding midfielder. These two are 8s. They're not 10s, they're not massively creative players. However, what they are is really, really good in possession, and really, again, key to how this side plays. This is something which I quickly wanted to showcase for you guys using Once Video Analyzer Pro, which you guys can check out in the description down below. And what we can see is this exact system here. We've got the two centre-backs here, of course, just playing quite simple football like this. We then have Lobotka playing as the holding midfielder, and what this does is creates this base 3 shape. So we've now got a 2 and then a 3. And then what does this mean? It means that Anguissa and Zielinski here and here can push further forward. So Lobotka is the base of that midfield. Then these two, whilst they aren't 10s, are given a license to push much higher. Having pushed that little bit higher, what Anguissa and Zielinski bring to the team is quite basic for me. It's an intensity to the way that they play. They're excellent athletes, they're very physical, they're very workmanlike. They cover a lot of ground, and Anguissa in particular has taken his game to a next level this season, and Spalletti deserves a lot of credit for that. The quality has never been a doubt with Anguissa, but his mentality perhaps has. Not this season, so Spalletti does deserve credit for that. But the way that these two get forward, they shuttle up and down the pitch. Again, they are reasonably safe in possession. They are going to keep the ball for their side. It's almost a little bit like Liverpool from a few years ago in the way that the midfield trio works. And it's two number 8s doing an excellent job. And what they do from there is, like I said, they keep the ball for their side. But then the combination play is really, really good. Because they are midfielders, they have a lot of the ball. Napoli are a highly possession-based team. They have a lot of the ball. These two keep the ball well for the side, combined with Lobotka. But also what they do is they get the ball moving forward. Anguissa has that ability to carry the ball forward. Zielinski is a player that will make runs off the ball, going past other players. And all this combined means that Napoli slowly, gradually get their way up the pitch by keeping the ball. And then we see the wide players, the wide combinations come into it. And that is where this Napoli team becomes really impressive. Combinations are a big thing in every football team, of course, but particularly in this Napoli side, the wide combinations are crucial. And what they do is they create 3 versus 3s or 3 versus 2s in wide areas. A lot of teams might do it in the centre of the pitch, Napoli do it out wide. On the left-hand side, it will often be Mario Rui, Kvaratskhelia, apologies on the pronunciation, I think that's right, but correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you guys will. And Zielinski pushing into this area, they create this 3. Sometimes the opposition will be able to track them, sometimes they won't. And we see something similar on the other side with Politano, or again it can be Lozano, Anguissa and Di Lorenzo pushing into these areas. And basically, what they do incredibly well is that they rotate the ball in these areas. Sometimes Rui will step forward, Kvaratskhelia will come in, Zielinski will be deeper. Sometimes Rui will come inside, Kvaratskhelia will pick it up a little bit deeper, Zielinski will be wider. They have rotations, but all 3 zones are always occupied, which makes it gives them this structure of always having players in each zones, but it also gives them unpredictability. So structure combined with fluidity is a very nice little combination to have, and they have it on both sides of the pitch. And from here, they're just very, very impressive. This was summed up beautifully by the game against Roma at the weekend, where we really saw the effect of this wide combination. We can of course see the 3 of them here. They're playing in close proximity to each other, they're making this zone, and on this particular occasion they are actually outnumbered. However, they have such quality in these areas, such an ability to get forward with the ball, that it's almost not too much of an issue for them, because individually they are absolutely brilliant. And we can see Kvaratskhelia making runs in behind the defence, but it's quick combination play. They draw players in, and then Rui, Zielinski, Kvaratskhelia, just pure quality on the ball, breaks other teams down. Quick wide combinations, 1-touch football, 2-touch football, getting the ball around the corner, getting into these wide areas. On this particular occasion, Kvaratskhelia crosses the ball in and Osimhen finishes with a joke of a finish. We will come on to Osimhen shortly. But it's just really nice combination play. It's quite simple football almost, but it's so effective and teams just can't stop it. Largely because of Kvaratskhelia. Now again, a player that was signed for what now looks a bargain fee in the summer. This guy is taking the league, is taking Europe, is taking the world by storm. This guy, the sky is the limit. His ability to dribble, go either way, inside, outside. He's basically got all the assets of a creative number 10 with 1 versus 1 ability. which is a very rare skill set in the modern day and in the modern game. And in general, this guy is just absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, he can go either side, he's got excellent link play, he can cross, but he is absolutely relentless. And as a defender, I would not want to be 1 versus 1 with this guy, and we can see some of his stats from the past year or so. Just look at that top section. Actually, first of all, that middle section, the 88th percentile for dribbles completed and the 98th percentile for touches in the attacking penalty area, but then just look at all of those dense green bars at the top. This guy is a massive attacking outlet. He is absolutely crucial to the way that Napoli play because he gives them moments of magic which teams simply can't deal with. He is just too good, really. It's almost not a tactical thing with him as such. He is just too good at football. He has this ability to come inside and unleash absolutely lethal shots at goal. The power which he gets with minimal backlift is astonishing, but also he has the ability to go the other way as well. Chip crosses into the box like we were talking about earlier after that wide combination, where we then have Victor Osimhen always there ready to put the ball into the back of the net. And actually, that brings us on to Osimhen quite nicely. Because, again, what a player. Napoli have themselves one of the best centre-forwards in the game, especially one of the best true number 9s. Physically, he is unlike anything else in world football at the moment. I don't think I can use the words to describe physically how good he is. Like, I can't think of them in terms of really capturing just how much of a physical presence and how much of a monster he is. He does a bit of everything. He really is quite complete. His link-up play and hold-up play is developing this season, but his running ability, his ability to go into the channels, again that hold-up, his movement, he is just a nightmare. Defenders must have headaches after games because he's just constantly harassing them. He's constantly chasing them. He'll chase loose balls into the channels where he'll then hold the ball up and bring others in. He really is just an absolute nightmare to deal with, and for that reason he is the top scorer in the Serie A this season, despite missing several games at the start, which again is really impressive. He has now equalled his best tally. This guy is just going from strength to strength. I'm not massively going to tactically break him down because I do have a separate video on Osimhen on the channel if you want to go check it out. But just briefly, his movement is very, very good. When the ball is wider and deeper, he likes to head towards the back post where he knows that he can get on the back of a defender and head the ball down into the back of the net. And then as a winger might get closer to the byline, he then makes a movement more inside into this nearer area towards like the 6-yard box where he gets there, sits off and then puts the ball into the back of the net. Really good striker instinct for a young player. And again, a bit like Kim, a bit like Kvaratskhelia, I really hope that this is a player that Napoli can keep hold of for their sake because he is a wonderful, wonderful player. The good thing about Napoli under Spalletti is that they aren't just one-dimensional either. Yes, they are a possession-based team that control the ball in the middle with Lobotka, Anguissa and Zielinski. But also they have those wide combinations, that quick link play, the ability to shoot from range with players like Kvaratskhelia, the trickery perhaps of someone like Lozano on the right wing, all combined with the finishing of Osimhen, but they are also lethal in transition as well. Absolutely lethal, and I think that might serve them more so in the Champions League, where they face better sides, where they might have a slightly less percentage of possession. But in general, this team on transition are absolutely lethal. Again, it becomes because of Kvaratskhelia. As an outlet, he is wonderful. His ability to carry the ball forward, drag the team forward, is just super impressive. And then you have Osimhen, who is really, really good on the counter-attack. He's not a player like a false 9 who's going to drop in and link the play and bring others into the game. Not his style. He's going to run the other way, and again, his physical attributes make him an absolute nightmare. There was a game against Roma early in the season where he absolutely bullied Chris Smalling, who is quite a physical centre-back, and he just does it time and time again. His running ability is lethal, with the driving ability of players like Anguissa and Zielinski in midfield, driving the ball forward, getting it to Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen. It makes him just so, so dangerous. So I have just moved my camera a little bit so you can see this a little bit better, but again, we can see the danger of Napoli on counter-attack. So if we mark Osimhen here, we can see him making a run in behind the defence. This is his area that he wants to get into. He wants to drive in behind. We can also see Kvaratskhelia on the edge here, on the left-hand side at the bottom. Now, he isn't a player which is blessed with tons of pace, which is kind of what makes him so special. But whilst he doesn't have pace, he is still a runner in these situations on counter-attack. He is happy to get going in behind. And then, of course, if we look at our midfield too here, Zielinski and Anguissa, they are providing the drive. They're looking to carry the ball forward through the pitch to bring these attackers into the game. And as a combination, it is just deadly. Again, with that quality of Kvaratskhelia on the left wing, it's unrivaled in Europe at the moment. The power and the running ability of Osimhen is unlike anything you can find anywhere else in the world. And I mean, unsurprisingly, as a result, they are just ridiculously good on the counter-attack. There's really not much more to say than that. With all of these things combined, we can see that Napoli truly are one of the best teams in Europe at the moment. Now, the question is, will it continue? Well, personally, I think it will. The underlying metrics all look quite good, and I think they will go on to win the Scudetto this season. Like I said at the start of the video, for the first time since Diego Maradona was at the club. However, maybe the bigger judgment might be on their ability to win the Champions League, where I do fear they might fall a little bit short because of a couple of defensive deficiencies, which I won't cover today, but if you want a video on that, then let me know in the comments down below. But apart from that, that is all I want to say for today's video. I will try and cover more Serie A in the future, so let me know some other things you'd like to see, potentially what's going wrong at AC Milan, because they have the worst defensive record out of Europe's top 5 leagues in 2023 in all competitions, so let me know if you want to see that. Let me know some other Serie A content you would like to see. Let me know your thoughts on this Napoli team, on Osimhen, on Kim Min-jae, on Kvaratskhelia, on Lobotka, on everything, Spalletti. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one.